I really appreciate all of you coming here. I think you've made a good decision. So first lesson, decision making. Come to trainings on decision making. A pre-mortem is looking in advance. What can go wrong, and how do we fix it in advance? So this is a very strategic approach, which involves 6 steps. You ask all to imagine a future where the project definitively failed. Absolutely, no question, totally failed. And then ask each participant to write possible reasons for failure anonymously, especially reasons that might be seen as rude or unpopular. Anyone else wants to share?
I like this process because sometimes when we think about what could go wrong, I often see in meetings, oh, you're a naysayer, right? And I could even see myself, because sometimes because of my expertise in something, and we had this experience with Julie, and I was like, oh my gosh, Julie, I hope I didn't offend you, because she was bringing this amazing idea, which I love, but my first reaction was like, oh my gosh, have we considered all of this? Which doesn't matter. I wasn't saying that it wasn't going to work, right?
Yeah.
But this just really lets people get everything out.
Yep.
And then you can decide, okay, what's really valid, what's really not.
You might have heard of it as the saber-tooth response. You know, the thing that causes us to jump out of the way of a moving car before we even know what we did. It's a good thing. We want to jump out of the way of that moving car. But it's not good for, you know, when our boss gives us negative feedback that we really should learn from, as opposed to be like la 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 and not listening. That's a bad response. You don't want to do that saber-tooth response when your boss gives you constructive critical feedback.
Yeah, you think what you're hearing is what is influencing you, but in fact it may be what you're seeing that may be the biggest influence?
Very much so. How various presidential candidates present themselves, what gestures they use, like the gestures I'm using right now.
All right.
You know, their facial gestures. Those are much more important than we intuitively think they are, and we are very strongly influenced by these things. So intuitively, it will never feel correct to think a situation through, but that's when we need that's when we would benefit from going against our intuitions a little bit. Calibrating your intuitions and seeing where you are, and figuring out where your mind is likely to steer you wrong, and putting numbers on the situation.
We invited Gleb to do his presentation. We were very pleased with it. I'd like to point out that quite often in these presentations, we have a gap in time where people sort of do one-on-one talking or getting together in groups and then come back. This was the most lively of all the groups that we've had so far.